Why did FIFA choose America for the 2026 World Cup? Most people think FIFA picked the United States, Canada, and Mexico because of football. Mr. Benny discovered that wasn't the real reason. It was money. America is the biggest sports business machine in the world. Over 330 million people, the largest advertising market on the planet, and brands willing to spend billions to reach fans. Companies like Coca-Cola, Adidas, and Visa don't sponsor the World Cup because they love football. They sponsor it because football sells attention. Then Mr. Benny looked at the Super Bowl. One game, one Sunday, hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising revenue. That's when it clicked. FIFA wasn't just choosing a host nation. It was choosing the most profitable marketplace on Earth. Broadcasters paid enormous sums for the rights to show the tournament. Sponsors lined up years in advance. Stadiums, merchandise, tourism, and advertising all meant one thing: more money. To fans, the 2026 World Cup is about goals, trophies, and national pride. To FIFA, it's one of the biggest business opportunities ever created. Mr. Benny realized that football may be the product, but the real game is selling attention. Fans watch because they love the sport. FIFA runs it because it makes billions. Follow Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny earns more money than everyone around him. Yet when the bank looks at his personal account, it almost thinks he's broke. No villa in his name, no Ferrari, no big salary, nothing. That's exactly what Mr. Benny wanted, because one day, Mr. Benny discovers one thing that rich people understand very early. Real power isn't what you own, it's what you control. Most people buy everything directly in their own name house, car, savings. But the problem is, if one day they get into debt, a divorce, or a lawsuit, everything can disappear. So Mr. Benny does the opposite. He creates a company, then he has the apartments bought by that company so legally, the assets no longer belong to Mr. Benny, they belong to a company, and that company controls everything. But Mr. Benny gets even smarter. He creates a second company above the first, a holding company, a parent company that takes the money from the other companies. Result: the money moves inside the system, almost untouchable. So with much fewer taxes, and while everyone thinks Mr. Benny earns little, his companies keep getting richer. Mr. Benny just pays himself a small salary, the minimum to live on. Because he understood one thing: rich people don't put their money in their own name. They build structures that others don't even see. Mr. Benny invested $20,000 in a laundromat. 3 years later, he was making $3 million, and he'd never washed a single item of clothing in his life. At first, Mr. Benny knew nothing about laundromats. He was just looking for a business that would run itself, without him, without employees, and without customers to worry about managing. A laundromat seemed perfect. People arrived, paid in cash, and the machine did everything. So Mr. Benny decided to rent a space and bought 10 machines. Mr. Benny opened his first laundromat, and the first month was a disaster. Machine number 4 broke down, a pipe burst, and the place flooded. Mr. Benny received the plumber's bill, which cost him $4,000. Mr. Benny was furious, but he didn't panic because he had set up a corporation. In a corporation, all business expenses are deductible from profits. So if the corporation earns $10,000 and spends $4,000 on repairs, it is only taxed on $6,000, not on the $10,000. So this $4,000 plumber's bill, the government absorbs part of it without realizing it. Mr. Benny pays the bill, but not the whole thing. To increase his revenue, Mr. Benny installs a vending machine in the corner of the laundromat. Mr. Benny is clever because he only puts non-perishable products in it, like laundry detergent. These are products that last for years on the shelf and that customers buy exactly when they need them. The margin is 100. 106 months later, Mr. Benny checks his account. The laundromat has generated $30,000 in net cash flow. But Mr. Benny doesn't touch this money because he uses it to sign the lease for a second laundromat. Mr. Benny is ingenious. He bought one business with the money from another business, which means his personal savings remain intact. So Mr. Benny does the only logical thing. He opens 1/3 and then 1/10. Now Mr. Benny makes $50,000 net per month, or about $600,000 a year with 0 employees and 0 customers to manage. The money goes into Mr. Benny bank account even when he's in bed, since the laundromats are open 24/7. The taxman calls it passive income. Mr. Benny calls it a good day.